Hello, this is Sandy from Ledoux Designs. I'm so sorry I was running late today, just by a few minutes. I didn't realize what time it was. I was so busy trying to come up with this really cool card for you guys tonight that I lost track of time. So sorry. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Tonight we are going to use Fish Wishes from the Sassy Club. Eek! They're so cute. Hi Meg, how are you? And I have this new paper that I bought from Stamperia when I was at the expo that I want to use. So I was going to cut everything prior to the live, but I ran out of time, so we're going to have to do the whole thing on the live. So I hope that's okay. It might take a little longer than normal, but I think it'll be all right. So we are going to color these images. So there's a reason why I stamped them in the way that I did. Hi Cheryl. Hi Meg. Yay. I'm good. I'm real good. I'm excited about the card I want to show you guys tonight. So hopefully you can stick around. I will try to go as fast as I can. We have some images here. So our Nemo is going to go, sorry, I was adjusting the light. I don't like it when you can see the light on the screen. Anyway, so this one is Nemo. And then we have Dory, Squirt. Oh, you guys made me ink. And Marlin. So we have this really amazing card that we're going to do tonight. And it's, to me, it kind of looks like a fishbowl a little bit. So I think it's going to be really neat. This is going to be the inside of our card, which is why they're stamped in this manner. But these ones, we'll have to cut them out. But they're little, so it should go pretty quick. So Nemo and his dad are pretty much the same colors. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out YR07 and let me grab that and then I will tell you. I have to have all my cutting tools here. Yeah, we have a lot of really cool stuff to do tonight. Okay, so I said YR07 and E18. And then our G00 is what we would need for the eyes that we're going to do for Nemo and his dad. And then the white, we're going to use C1, C00 in our colorless blender. So I'm going to pull that out, and I think I just buried my colorless blender over here somewhere. I'm sure I'll find it. There it is. I had to refill and clean some markers today, so I was pretty busy doing that as well. So it's been kind of a busy day. Hi, Becky. She hasn't said hi, but since you said Becky, she must be here. So hi, Becky. C9, 7, and 6 for the fins. And then the orange color for the body, we're going to use YR09, 07, and 04. So I'm going to pull those out as well. So we'll go ahead and get started with those colors and do our Nemos first. And then we'll move on to our Dory and Squirtle and all those. Not Squirtle. That's something totally different. I'm going to zoom in. Oh, probably not that far so you can see them both. We'll put Nemo on one side, Marlin on the other, so you can see them both. We're going to start with the white areas because, you know, I always like to start with that so I don't, like, drag any other color around. So we're going to start with C1, and we're going to do the stripes on Nemo and his dad, as well as the inside of the eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and do the eyes first. I like to put it around the edge of the eyes like this. just so we have a little bit of shadow area within those eyes. We're going to do the same thing with Marlin here. Just so that it looks, I don't know how much of that you can see on camera, but it just gives it a little bit of a dimensional look. So I like to add that part. And then their stripes are going to be white as well. There are three stripes here. So right here, right here, this is Nemo's. And then he has one more right back here. Now, the stripes on his fins and his tail, they are not white. So they are black. So we're not going to do that part, just in case you were wondering why we are or aren't doing those parts, that color. I'm just doing it the color that I'm used to seeing Nemo and Marlin, because I have watched Finding Nemo like a bajillion times so far. I used to watch it all the time when the kids were little. It was one of my favorites. My favorite part was when the little girl goes, "Fish in my hair." It always made me laugh. So make sure you say hi when you pop on, otherwise I don't know that you're here. Okay, C00, we're going to push this color towards that line, just to keep that shadow area close to the edge. We have to be extra careful with Nemo because we're not going to cut him out. So we want to be just a little bit cautious with him. We go along this edge and along this edge. And we'll come in with the Colorless blender and blend all of that out in just a moment. This part goes kind of fast, and I know you guys can't see it that well on camera, but you'll be able to see it a lot better after we get some more color on our little guy. Hi, Kelly. So this is our Colorless blender, and we're just going to use it real quick to kind of smooth out any of those edges that we left with the white color, the grays, which is another reason, ooh, this is very juicy. I filled this today. Another reason why I wanted to do the white first, just in case my Colorless blender does a little spit up on my paper. I don't think it will if I have both ends off, but I did overfill it today. I know I did because it was eking out when I was filling it. Okay, so now we did the part that you guys can't really technically see on camera. So now we'll move on to the part that you can see. Let's do the orange next, and then we'll do the eyes. So we have YR09, 07, and 04. So I'm going to start with the YR09 first. And this is where we're going to start building in the color. And you guys know that I've told you that I really like to do the inside of the mouth, the darkest color. But we may end up bringing in some gray with that as well if it's too bright when we get finished. So I'm going to put a little bit along the top of his head, you know, because he's rounded. We want him to look rounded. And then we're going to do the underside right here. Oh, my hands are shaky today. I don't know why. Every now and then they get a little bit shaky. And then we're going to put just these two little flicks out in his little fin. And we're going to do them down here as well. You should still be able to see them once we put the color in. And he'll look, you know how that goes. He'll look unfinished until we get through everything. So up here on the top, we're going to put this darkest color. And then down here below the fin and at the bottom of the body. And then this is the one in between his stripes. So it needs to have some as well. And then over here, behind this fin, for sure. And then a little bit down here. And then we have to go into this fin area. So what I'm going to do is, there's no details in here, but I'm going to kind of build a little bit of detail in here. So I'm going to build this, just this little line right there. And then I'm going to do some flakes off of it to show, I guess it'd be like the veins or whatever in Nemo's fins. And then I'm going to do a few of them from his tail. Just going to try to give him a little bit of texture with this process where you wouldn't normally have it. We just want to be able to see it. And then we're also going to do just a small area of the upper part of this fin. We're going to split it so that it goes like this, so we can have a border like we do around here, around the top of him. So I'm just going to draw that in with my marker so that we can see it, and we know that we want to leave that alone because we're going to make that black. And then I'm going to put some of those little thin lines in there as well. So you'll notice when I do these, sometimes I try to be a little bit correct with the way I saw it in the movie. So I go through a little more detail, but you don't necessarily have to. You see how Marlin's has those in it, but Nemo did not. I just felt like they should be matchy-matchy. So, yeah. So that's why I put them in there. So starting with Marlin's tail, I want to do a little bit along the top. And then I want to do this line right here so I can do those brush strokes away from it. I went a little far on that first one, which is totally fine because this area is going to be black, so you won't be able to see that. And then we're going to do his fins as well. So I'm going to build that little bit of a wall there and then go over the artist lines since they're kind of already in there for us. Same here. Just kind of building that out. Putting a few extras. See how he has that top part here is black, and then this will be black and this will be orange. So we're kind of making Nemo match his dad so that he looks the same. And then this is the white one, this is the orange one, and then this is an orange one right here. I wonder if I'm shaky because I just ate a cookie before the live. I got a little sugar high going on. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to do this side. He looks sad. It's because he's looking for Nemo. And then we're going to do, you guys are quiet tonight. Is it because I just jumped right in? And then we're going to do around the top of his head, just a little bit where this white stripe is. And then I'm going to come all the way up the side. So I'm going to start at the bottom. And then I'm going to go all the way around the side. I want to put a little bit of shadow over here on this side. So I'm going to brush stroke out just a little bit from the side. So I want to give him a little shadow. You'll see when I put him on the card what direction I'm putting him in, so it just kind of makes sense to do it that way. And then I'm going to put a little bit on his eyes since they're droopy and he's sad. So his little eyelids are going to be the darker color. It'll make his eyes stand out just a little bit more. Okay, so next color. Hey, Mom. Next one is YR07. I hope that doesn't leave any marks on the paper, since we need this for the inside of our card. Okay, we have one more color after this one. So this particular color is going to have a lot. We're going to use it a lot on the Nemo and Marlin colors. And then the last color is the one that will do the highlight areas. So this one will have a lot more of this orangey color. I want his eyes to stand out as well. So I'm going to go around them with this medium tone orange, mid-tone orange, instead of the darker one. I feel like the darker one would stand out too much, but I definitely want to go around these with this mid-tone color. But I want to be careful because I do not want to get it inside the white of his eyes. So this will also be building a bit of a fence around, so I won't mess that up. I want to smooth that out a little bit. Coming in from the sides. We're going to leave a little bit on top of his head, but we are going to color in some around here. And then we'll leave him a little bit of space for it to have some light color on it. We're going to do down here. Just kind of keep his cheeks as the really bright color. I'm going to go around these edges where the black will be. But I'm not going to go over the color that I put on there already because I want that to stand out when we put our last color on there. Yeah, I think Mom missed the Tuesday live. Just adding a few more in the top part here. And then we're going to go along this side. Real carefully around the white part because we don't want to get it in there. Just put more of those marks in his tail. And then his fin. I'm going to go around the outside of the fin. All the way around. Like this. And then we're just going to add a few more of these lines in between where our other lines are. It'll just start building that out. So that's almost. Now we're going to work on Marlin with the same exact ideas here. We don't want to go into that white over there. I'm going to come in from the other angle just a little bit. And then in between where our lines already are, just we're extending them just to start building that in. Same thing over here, and don't worry about the part I got in the other part of the tail because that will be fine when we come in with black. You won't be able to see that right there. Otherwise, I'd have the colorless blender out and I'd be fixing it right now, but I don't think we're going to need to do that. Since we're going to put black over it, we should be just fine. Yes, you are. I'm going to be an ant again. Super exciting. me. Cooper's been the only great grandbaby for a while, so this is very exciting news. Oh, it's not my son, no. He's not married yet. It's my sister's, which is why I won't be a grandma, I'll be a great aunt. I'll be an auntie again. All right, so we're getting him colored in. Luckily, the rest of these are pretty quick colors. I guess this Nemo one has taken just a little longer than I thought it would. But we really need all of them on the card. When you see the card, you'll know why. But we really need to have all the characters on the card. All the ones that I stamped. I mean, there are a whole bunch more in the set. This is a larger set and it's super cool. It has most of the characters. It even has like the octopus from Finding Dory. And it's, oh, so cute. I wanted to do the octopus tonight, but it doesn't work with our card. So we'll have to do him another time. All right. So now we have Marlin, and he looks really super sad. All right, last color. This is the one. And we'll get in there. Filling in just the white areas. Don't spend a lot of time on these little ones because we don't want to blend them out. We want to be able to see those lines in there. So we're really just touching the paper and adding the ink for all of the fins and such. The body will blend, but these fins and things, we want to leave those designs in there so you can see them. I think it just gives them texture and personality, so I wanted to leave them in there. I'm going to turn this around so I don't accidentally color in the eye. I'm also softening that line because I don't want you to see it on the forehead. There we go. And then under his eyes, we'll leave that a little bit more highlighted on his cheeks than we did on the top of his head. And I kind of like his mouth, but I think we're still going to make it a little bit darker with the grays. I mean, we're about to come in with the grays, so we can use it for that. I think that'll be helpful. So that's our little Nemo. He's so cute. When you add the black, it's going to really make it pop. And this will be our Marlin. This last color is the easiest part. We will go back in and soften the edges, like these edges, because we don't want to see that wall that we built. So we just go along that line and soften it up. And then in order to match those colors, we'll just go this way one more time, but very lightly. That's with like a one touch, like only one pressure. There we go. Yay! Everybody's super happy. Tonight is a good night. Been busy all day working on, I finished up the task I was working on for a future thing. I'm excited about it. It'll be a little while before y'all will see it, but you will. I'm excited. Good things happening all over. All right, now we just have to do his face. And I'm using a much heavier pressure because I want to add more ink to the paper so that it blends really well. So I'm going to work this area right here because I don't want you to see that line. And that looks a lot better. Ooh, I think we have a lot of light on me tonight. let's turn it a little bit so you can see the highlights. Sometimes I forget because I have to turn the light down enough that it looks better on camera, but then there's not a whole lot of light in the room. It's really strange how it works out, but poor Marlin. He looks so sad. Poor Marlin. Okay, we are going to use the YR07 for the eyes, so we're going to leave that out. But we also said that we were going to use E18. I'm going to move some of these markers out of the way. And G00 in case we need it. So what we're going to do with Nemo is we're going to build his eye. So we're going to have to put a little bit of a pupil in to start. So I'm just going to use this little 0.25 multi-liner, and I'm just going to just draw like a little circle in there. It doesn't have to be perfect. We'll color it in later, but I just want to make sure I get them close to the same size. And then we'll worry about the detail of them later. I just need to be able to see what I'm doing. So we're going to use E18 to start, and we're going to go around the outside of the eye. All the way around. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Kind of hard to do where y'all can still see it. It's better to hold your marker upright. And then I'm going to put some of the little lines in there, just so his eye has a little bit of texture as well. He's going to look freaky funny right now. I'm actually coming from both directions. I don't want it to look like a human eye necessarily. So I just want to put some style in there. And then we're going to come in with YR07. And we're going to color in. We're going to have to do this in more than one step, so just bear with me. We're just going to color this in. We're going to come back in with our E18, and we're going to go around that pupil part to start building that in. So if your shape is a little off, you can change it at this time. This is when you would want to change that. And then we're going to go in one more time with our YR07 and just darken that a little bit. Because when we come in with G00, we're going to lighten a little bit of that up. And I'll show you what I mean. So this G00 is kind of like our magic color. And I'll hold this up after I finish. But we're just going to go in a half circle like this around Nemo's eye, until we start seeing the color move. And then we're going to stop and we're going to go to the other one and do the same thing. Just back and forth and back and forth. This is a really light color, so it has a lot of colorless blender in it. So it's going to move that ink a bit. So that's why we go over it and over it and over it like that. We're just trying to get that ink to move out towards the edge of the eyes, so there's like a glassy look to our Nemo. Then I'm going to come back in one more time with this YR07 and go around the outside edges just to make sure they stay fairly dark. Just the little edges. And then before I show it to you, we're going to color in the pupil of the eyes. And we'll come in with our white gel pen at the end and add the white accents to the eyes. But for now, we just want to have our little Nemo in there. So if I hold it up, you'll be able to see how the eyes are. See how there's like light around that center part of them? And that's what we were going for him. Now for this guy, his are quite smaller, so we're just going to put the dark at the top. And then we're going to put the light at the bottom, which is the YR07. We don't have to do a whole lot with these because there's such a tiny area. But I think I'm going to go back in anyway with this E18 and try to go around just the edge so I can build that color in there. It's hard to see. I get it. I know it's a very tiny area. And then I'm going to blend it out with the YR07 one more time. So his eyes look a little more orange, where Nemo's look a little more brown. But it's okay. It's really okay. We're going to darken Marlin's eyeballs just because the ink, when I stamped it, wasn't as dark as I wanted it to be. So I'm just filling that in. When we get to the white gel pen, it'll make even more sense. Okay, so now we have to do the black accent areas. These should be quicker, C09, because they're very tiny areas. So around the edges, I'm gonna do just that little dip right there. And then around the edges here, we have 3 colors and small spaces. So we don't have to put a whole lot in there. We just have to get a little bit of that color in there. This part will just be all, oh, I think that was supposed to be white. Dang it. Those are supposed to be white and I made them black. Oh, I messed it up. But you know what? We're just going to roll with it anyway. We're going to give him black stripes because it's too late now. I messed it up. Bummer, bummer, bummer. Don't you hate it when you do something like that? See, everybody makes mistakes. So this one and this one are supposed to be white, but I colored them black by mistake. So what we're going to do is just leave them black. He'll just look a little bit different than his dad. You were going to say white not. Yeah, he's all messed up now. Let's make sure we don't do it on Marlin and we'll be fine. I could actually recolor it, but nope, I have to attach it inside the card. So it is what it is. Do you think people will judge if they were to get the card? Probably not. Maybe he's dirty from being in the fish tank. Remember when he was in the tank and they got it all dirty so they could escape? Escape. Yep, I colored them white and then colored over them. Dadgummit. I do hate when that happens, but I don't want to extend the live all that long for you to have to watch me color another one. So there we go. This is what he's supposed to look like. This is what he looks like now. Put the octopus next to him and say he inked on him. That's funny. That's a good idea. Here he is. All right. Well, it is what it is. So we're just going to roll with it. This is C7 and I'm doing the outline with it. Like around the outside. He'll just be dirty. His stripes. He changed colors. Maybe he changes colors in the sun and in the dark. And why not? They can look different if we want. It's a bummer that I messed it up when it wasn't what I wanted. But sometimes you just gotta roll with those happy accidents. He actually is still super cute, even without the white. So I'm okay with it. I'm leaving him like that. And I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. Just gonna say, I meant to do that and I'm leaving it that way. There we go. All right, so next is going to be our C6, and you jinxed me from last week. Yeah, it just happens. Everybody makes mistakes. C6. If I were doing this by myself, I'd probably recolor it, but I'd probably keep this one as well and still use it in a card. I'd just use it in one that didn't have marlin in it as well, because then it's not as obvious. But we'll put some white gel pen over that, and not completely, but just some really strong accent on there, and it'll probably be just fine. I mean, you got to roll with it when you got to just make up a story and redo it. Just keep rolling with it. Don't give up. I mean, honestly, we buy these stamps clear so we can color them any way we want. It doesn't always have to be the way it was in the book. All right. Now, I'm going to grab my C1 and see if it'll be dark enough to darken the inside of his mouth. Oh, yeah, it's going to be good to do a shadow. I wanted to kind of darken that up from the color that we used earlier. And then I'm going to grab the YR09 and darken it just a tad bit more right along here. I like it to be dark, but I like there to be a little bit of variation in there, so that will help it. And then just like I do our tongue in R12, I'm going to do his in R12 as well. Just all one color, R12. All right. Now we have to go and do marlin. Well, at least you get to see what both of them, what they look like in different colors. I mean, we could even make them blue and yellow and pink and purple, and I mean, we get to do whatever we want. They're art images. And it could be whatever you want in your world. You know, your world might have different colors. Or somebody might be colorblind. They'll say, no, that's white. I don't know why you see black. I see white. All right, almost done with them too. We'll do the white gel pen at the end on all of them. So I'm going to take Nemo and put him aside. See, he's super cute. I'll put him aside and we'll pull him back out when we need to do the white gel pen. And we're going to move on to our Dory. So this is our Dory right here. And Dory's colors are going to be the same black, 976. So we're going to use the same black colors. The yellow will be Y15, 13, and 11. That's going to be our yellow color for Dory. And then our blue is going to be B24, B02. We got several of them. B24, B02, then B52, and B04. So we got several colors in there. And then for the eyes, they're going to be a little bit on the red side. So we're going to do the eyes in RV 19, 17, 14. They're not red. They're kind of like a pinkish color, or they are going to be tonight. And then the light colors, C1, C00, just like we did. And then the tongue, this time we're going to do RV 34 and 42. Because this tongue is a little bit bigger. We need it to be showing up just a little bit more. So we'll do the tongue first. This is the RV 34. And we want it to be way up here and under her teeth. And then we'll come in with the RV 42. Add to that and just kind of blend down. Give us that really pretty soft pink. It looks better against the blue skin, the pink tongue, a little bit more pink like that. So we're gonna go ahead and work on the eyes next. Again, the eyes are not drawn in, so you could either make it black and color that color, but I like to have that big white in their eyes, so we are going to add the black pupil area in here. And then we need to add it on this side as well. So right here. And this time I am going to color it all in black right now. There we go. There we go. We're going to do these eyes a little bit more simple than Nemo's. So RV 19. Yeah, I'm working on it. May is coming fast. I know. I understand. I'm with you. I know what you're talking about. I'm following you. There we go. RV 17, we're going to put around the pupil part, like right here. And soften this just a tad. They almost look like purple eyes, a little bit. RV 14. So it's going to brighten up that center part just a little bit, kind of like we did with the G00, but we're using 14 for that this time. And then we're going to go in one more time, and we're going to add the RV 19 to the edge again so that you can see it a little bit more obvious. So now we have some nice big eyes. I'm going to use the Colorless blender just a tad bit over top, doing that same thing we did with the G00, but just to lighten up that area. If you get it too light, you can always go back in with the RV 14. But we're just trying to build in that little bit of, so that the eyes have a little bit of shine. Yeah, I am. I have a few other things that I had to get ready for something else that's going on, so I had to do those first. Okay, so that's that part. Now we're going to do the whites of the eyes that we should have done first but didn't. C1 right along the outside edges of these great big eyes that Dory has. And while we're at it, we might as well do the turtle and the other guy as well. That way we won't have to pull these colors out again for that. So we're going to do the little turtle eyes, and we're going to do the little, oh, you guys made me ink. I don't know what the name of this character was. I only remember he said, you guys made me ink. And then C00, pushing that color back towards the edge. Try not to touch the pink. You don't want to draw any of that pink out. That's usually why I do this part first. But I'm trying to move a little faster, so I missed it. I missed the ball on that. now we're going to use the Colorless blender. So we're going to have to be really careful not to get into any of that pink, or the whole eyeball is going to be pink. So I'm just going not even right up to the pink because I don't want you to be able to see that. You can kind of see the gray on that one, so hopefully that helps. I'm going to put a little bit on the little turtle, and then a little bit on that little guy. All right, time for the yellow on Dory. So Y15, her tail and her fins are yellow. So this part right here, this part right here, are yellow, and then her fin is yellow. So we're going to get some deep yellow right up against the body, like this, the underside of the tail, and then we're going to do a little bit on these lines right here. Even though they're black, and I know we can't cover them up, we're still going to put a little bit in there. So next, we're going to do Y13. We'll do, this is the mid-tone, so we'll do around the outside on this one and blend out just a little bit from here. And then around the outside here and just along those edges. Same thing here. And then we'll come in with Y11, which is very bright, and it will lighten that up big time. Like, it's definitely a brighter yellow. You'll be able to see it on the tail for sure. There we go. So you can see how it's a little bit lighter in the areas I put the Y11. You'll be able to see that more when we put the blue in there. But before we do that, let's do the black so that I don't color over the black areas with the blue. Dun, 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 dun. So there's this little area that goes along this area is black. And then the center little circle right there is blue. So we're going to do all back here is going to be the darkest color. And then when we come around here, it'll be on the fin, but around the circle. And then over the fin and around the circle, and then up the top of her head, right below this little fan of fin up here on the top. Right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and come down all the way so that it's separated from the part that's going to be blue and not black. I'm going to do this little area right here as well. Oh, and by the way, I almost forgot, this is a little stripe right here between the yellow and the blue. We're going to make that black as well. Same thing on this side, under her cheek. There we go. Then 7 will be around the outside, leaving a light area for the highlight. And then we'll come in with C6 like we did with the other one. So just blending that out, leaving a little bit of highlight, not on the one in the back because it will probably be shadowed anyway. There we go. Around the top of the head. Maybe a little bit up, a little bit higher. All right, C6 is the last one for the top of the head. and the little part on the one fin. This is quite a light. This will stay a little bit lighter than the rest of it. There's a big difference between C7 and C6, and C5 gets even worse, even lighter, I mean. Okay, so now we have our blue. So we have several blue colors here. B24. We definitely want that inside her mouth because, you know, I like the darkest color to be inside the mouth, but not on her teeth. We do it first so we can put a second coat over it so it won't match the body exactly. And then everything else on her has blue. So this, we're going to start off with any shadows, any areas that we want this darkest color to be on. This looks more blue. We need a bit of a tealish blue added in. So that's why we're using so many different colors for this, because we want to make sure that we have enough to make the right color variation for our little Dory. I want to keep her eyes really big, so you put dark around them, they'll stand out a little bit more. And I kind of want that, so it's really up to you on how you want to style your girl, your Dory. But we also are going to put like one tiny stripe along this black line right here. Just one tiny little stripe there. I think I want to come down here on the fin and then here as well. Just to kind of soften that little fin area up. And then I think we're going to try, let's see, B24 to BO, let's look at this. B24 to B04. Yeah, B04 will be next. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. So B04 is our next color. And we're just going to blend out from where we put that darkest color, adding a little bit more. And you'll notice this is a little bit more of a teal color than the blue color we were using at first. This will help build that Dory color. And I'm going to put these ones that are behind her in that, just finish it off with this color. Now we want to go around the rest of the eye. And we want to go over top of the color that we already used so they can blend together nicely. Down along here, start filling in this fin, this circle right here, and then one thin line around the top of the last blue color that we put on there. Next, B02. This one, we have one more color, but this one is going to be the majority of everything. The last color is really just for that fin on the top of the head. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a moment. Softening those lines, make sure we don't have any marks. There we go. Bringing this all together. Once we get all the color in there, we'll soften those lines. You can see them right there. There's one here, and some little ones here. So we're just going to go over that area one more time. Soften those lines. I say that a lot, don't I? Soften those lines. Unless you're doing hair, then don't do it. Leave your strands. Do a little bit more up there. And then we're going to do the little cheeky here, right down the side. And we're going to have to soften those lines as well. So right here and along this side, right there. Now we're going to go along the top, just a little stripe along the top, just like we did on the other colors. And right there. Now B52 is different. It's like a murkier blue. See, it's not as bright. It's kind of a murkier, and it has a little bit more of the blue in it. So it's what we're going to use to do this very last piece on top of her head. So I wanted to keep that significantly lighter than the rest of her, and maybe a little bit in this area right here. So that's why I saved that for last. Now, if you remember, Dory had like little spots on her face, like freckles. So we're definitely going to put those in. I don't think this was quite dark enough, so let's try it with the B02, and if that doesn't work, we'll use the B04. We just want to give her a bit of freckles on her face. Probably need to go to the, let's use the B24. This time I'll make them a little bit smaller. And then we'll be able to use the B52 to kind of wash that, spread that color out a little bit. Like that, so you can see the spots. There we go. Now you can see her spots on her face. Now our turtle, he's going to be all green with brown, so we only need a few colors. You like Dory? So cute. She's so cute. YG 95, 93, 84, and 81. 95, 93, 84, 81. I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but it's going to be perfect. And then the shell's going to be E27, E07. So we're going to give it a little bit of a reddish brown color to it. E37, 25, and 23. 25 and 23. So we're trying to build that shell at having a little bit of a reddish color to it. So yeah, that's all we need. Just green and brown. We're gonna start with the green. So starting with YG 95, and we're gonna start building in this little guy's face. And we're gonna make his eyes brown, so no worries on that. So I'm gonna do his little eyebrow or eyelid or whatever you want to call that. And then this would be like, I don't know, his eyelid as well. And then his little neck, we need to have some of this darkest color under his little neck. Probably a little under his eye and over here on the side. Just so we can get a little bit of that color going in his face. And hi, Beth. And we're going to use it on the inside of his mouth as well. You know how I like to do that because we've already done it a couple times. And then for his little fins here, we're going to build in a little bit of a texture kind of thing on these. So I want them to be like, I want them to come from here. Just build in a little bit of accent on them. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other one. So this is up against a shell. And then this one along the bottom. We're also going to come up with the part that's right by his face and put a little bit of this darkest shadow color there. And then we're going to work on these little fins again, wherever the artist put a little bump there. That's what we're doing, is building that in a little bit. Now the inside belly of the shell, I want that to be lighter, so I'm not going to put any of this darkest color in there, because I always feel like the bellies are more of a lighter brown. Got those little guys going. And I think up here, I'm going to put a little bit in between these spots. It's okay if you don't want to do that part. You don't have to, because the spots are going to be brown anyway, so you probably wouldn't really notice a whole lot with it. But I just want to see how close this, ooh, it looks like I might need to check this YG95 and see if it's running out of ink. Okay, so now we're going to switch over to E84. So I know it's not really a green, but you have to be careful with the YG colors, because they start off as like a really deep, dirty green, olive green, and then they change when you get really close, lower numbers, they change to a more green than olive. So sometimes I mix this E84 in with it, because it keeps that olive-ish tone a little better. So now we're just going to build out from where we put these little marks. I'm not going to do around the outside just yet. I just want the underside of his fins to stay a little bit darker than the rest of him. So that is why we are doing this step. There we go. All right, so next we're going to switch back to a YG color. So it's going to be that YG93. And you'll see when we use this one, you should be able to see that this one turns it a little bit more green. So can you see the difference from the olive to the regular green? So that's why we mix them all together, because it gives you a really cool look. Now we still have one more color for our highlight. So we're going to leave a little spot on right up there where his nose would be for the last color. Just making sure they blend really well. I like this green color for turtles. When I do turtles, I really like this green color. Now we'll leave some area on his fins for that last color, but we definitely have to blend these colors out. And we have to go over them, or we won't have that green color in there. If you just put it above it, it's going to be two entirely different colors. So you have to mix the two colors together to get this really cool blend of color. I like to mix colors. I don't know if you guys have noticed that so far, but I do like to mix the colors. Get my own version of a color I want. It makes it fun and different than what other people see, because you make it up yourself. Now, I said I wanted this center part to be lighter, so we're going to add just this green color now. And then the last color. That way it'll stay lighter than the rest of him, because the last color we're going to use is E81. And that's like a ivory color, so it will, while it's not green, it's just going to be perfect and mixed in with that color. Now, if you have trouble blending them, you can always tip to tip, but I think we're going to be okay. I'm okay with a little bit of that. I'll come back when it's dry and blend that out a little bit more. And same thing here. Just want to mix these colors together. Just kind of going over it a couple times to sort of soften that up. See, I like it on the fin like that. I just don't like it showing up. I don't like the nose having a big white triangle on it. So, but I do like it on these fins. So we're just blending it out a little bit more. Make sure it gets the right tone. I love it. I'm happy with it. Hi, Christina. And then also we're going to finish off the underside of the shell with this color. And then we'll work on these little legs, blending these colors together, but it's okay if it leaves that little bit of, it just shows the definition in the fins, which I like. So that is why I left that like I did. So now we just need to do the shell. So I want the bottom part that goes right here to be brown and this to have some red in it. So that's why we chose the E07. We won't put that in all of the shell. So starting with E27, that's where this underside, because it's under his fins, we want that to, that's going to stay pretty dark over there. And then for this part, just whatever's along his body, and then the underside, the side that's right by the shell. And we're going to put that color in there. I think we're going to put some right along the edge right here, so that it stays a little bit darker inside the shell. I mean on the top of the shell. You'll see what it does when you get when I get to the next part. Okay, so this time I'm going to use E07, but I'm only going to use it on the shell. So I'm going to do like lines on the shell just to give it a little bit of texture, and only on the shell, not at all under, not on these, just on the shell. I'm also going to do just a few little taps around that brown part I put in there. I just like to have a little bit of red in that shell. So E37 is next, and this one we're only going to use on these outside pieces right here. Want that shell to look like it has a bit of texture too. And then E25 and 23 is last. So E25, and then we'll leave a tiny area. So we are going to use E25 on the shell, and we're just going to do some of those little lines, and then we'll blend it out with the last color. So this one, I'm going to start building it a little bit, closing it up, leaving a little bit of highlight for the last color. This underside one, it's done because it's in shadow. And then E23 is the last color, and then we're going to do his cute little eyes, and then he will be finished as well. So I'm just adding this color in, but I'm not really blending it. I'm just adding it to leave that little bit of accent there. And same thing here, I'm just trying to touch where the white part is, not the whole thing. That way you can see a little bit of texture going on there. Not a lot, but just a teeny bit. Oh, I forgot to do the tops of his head. So we're going to use E25 for those. That's these little things right here. We are not going to shadow them, just one color and we're done because there's such tiny areas. We don't need a whole lot. We just need a little bit of brown on his head. And I kind of think that color wasn't quite dark enough, so I think I'm going to go over it with E27. I want those little spots to be a bit darker. So I'm just adding the E27 over top of the E25. And I think I like that better. And maybe to make it match, I'll go back in and do one more layer right here around the edge of this shell. And the outlines of what the artist put in there, just so you can still see it. There we go. Much better. Now it's more defined and you can see it really well. So let's go ahead and do the eyes now. I'm going to do them with 25 and 23. 25, 23. And I think I'm going to use a little bit of YG93 in the eyes. But we got to do the little pupil part of his eye. Because we can't be having no eyeballs. And I don't want him to look cross-eyed. So I kind of moved the eyes around a little bit so he won't look crazy-eyed. All right, so using E25, that's the one that we're going to hold upright and go around the edge of the eyes. It'll be a little thicker close to the head. And then if I can hold that upright and get a teeny tiny little brush stroke, that would be great. Going to use E23 to fill that in. Then we're going to use that 93 like we did the G00 to really lighten up a little bit of that. So using the YG93, we're going to do that half circle type thing right here close to the pupils. And we're just going to do it until we start seeing the ink move. And then we're going to stop. We'll do the other side. Just a little bit. And then we're going to go back and do it again. Hopefully you'll be able to see it in a minute. It's just lightening the eyes and adding a little bit of green so the colors mix really well. I'll show you up close in 1 second. So see how you can see how it lightened up the eyes just a little bit. And then we got to do the tongue. So R12, if I can find, oh, well, I don't know where my R12 is. So let's use RV42. Yeah, let's use RV42. There's his little tongue. We needed his tongue done. He couldn't not have his tongue done. So we might as well do the tongue on this little guy right here. And we might as well do the eyes on this little guy right here. So we're going to put a little bit of eye right here. And we're going to have him looking this way. So we're just going to fill in the little eyes. And then we're going to make them blue. So I'm going to use just B52. I'm just going to use one color. I want his little eyes to be really light. So we're going to use that. And then I think we should make him pink. So we're going to use the RV 19, 17, and 14 that we used in the eyes over there. So we can make him pink. I'm just going to put some little spots here on the tops of his ears. I'm going to work on this part down here first, on his tentacles, or hers, if you will, since she's pink. Inside of her mouth. Top of her head. Yeah, I think that's it for that one. Then I'm going to use RV 17. We're going to work on the ears a little bit towards the edge and emphasize that little center I put in there. And we're going to start blending down from where we put that last color. Starting to fill that in a little bit. I'm also going to do the eyelids in this color like that. And we're going to start filling in these tentacles. Let's do around the outside with this one since we only have one color left. And I'm not sure that I want to go around her eyes like I did the other ones. I think I just want to leave it kind of smooth. So this is the last color. This is the RV14. So we're just going to put it in there and then soften those edges. I want to kind of leave her sort of smooth. So we're just blending her out, except for the tentacles. I want to leave those lines in there, so I'm not going to mess with that. Soften, soften. Now we're just going to go around the eyes and the mouth. Very carefully so we don't get any pink anywhere else. And then we're going to blend out one more time just to make sure that it all smooths out the way that we want to. And then just for the fun of it, we're going to take our colorless blender, if I can find it, because let me tell you, I got a lot of markers out here. And we're just going to put a few little spots on the top of her head. So we're just going to touch in the same spot a couple of times so the ink will move and you'll be able to see the little spots. Because why not? This will give her a little bit of style. So cute. Let me hold that up so you guys can see it. See those little spots on her head? Isn't that just the cutest? So adorable. I do think we need to soften these just a little bit. Not all the way, but just a teeny bit more. Just feel like it's too much of a difference. There we go. All right, so now they're all finished. I'm going to move these markers out of my way so we can build this card because we're going to need the whole desk to do it. So we're just moving all our markers out of the way because this card's going to be fun, but it's going to take us a little bit to cut all the paper and stuff. Here's my white gel pen. We want my white gel pen to be able to dry while we're working on the image. So we're going to go ahead and put our little eyes in there. Look at how cute that is. Oh my goodness. We're going to put some little accents on here. I'm going to right here and right here. I like there to be a little bit on most of the black areas. Probably just the one top area there. So a little bit hard to see, but look how much cuter he looks now that he has all of his little dots in there. We're going to do the same thing with Dory. We're going to put Dory's eyes in there. And then we're going to give her, you won't be able to see the white as well on the yellow, but we're going to put it there anyway. And then we're also going to put just a teeny bit along this area up here, because we want that to stay lighter than the rest. I don't know why I like to put these little dots on there as well. It's just a me thing. And then this little guy, I want him to have a little bit too in his highlight area. And then his eyes. Oh my goodness. Every time I do it, it just makes me want to giggle. Can't help it. And then this little guy right here, just going to put a little around the top on that one. And maybe a little bit on the ears. Eyes. So cute. Now we just have one more. That's Nemo. I'll probably put a teeny bit on his tongue. We're going to do his little areas here too. Then his fins, a little bit over here. I think that's cute. I think I'm happy with that. Okay, now this one we do not have to cut out. He's going to stay like that. But these ones we do, so I am going to cut them out super quick. We have 4 of them, but we can do it pretty fast. It doesn't have to be perfect, just as long as it's cut out. And there's no really small areas that we have to go into to cut around, really. Oh, I hate when they're all attached together. I should have cut them apart. I can cut them a lot faster when they're not stuck together. There we go. Move the paper, not the scissors, and you can cut a lot faster. Marlin's almost done. Just a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you guys to answer. So I'm kind of giving you a little bit of time before I ask the question. And if you can't type, you can do thumbs up if you've heard of this before, and heart if you have not. Okay, ready? The card that we're going to make tonight is called a bay window card. Have you heard of it? I need to know. Dale, can you watch that and tell me what it says? When they comment, since I'm cutting. I'm going to cut this sentiment out too. But it's super easy and fast. Anybody? My fussy cutting amazes you. I've been doing it for so long. Sometimes, even when I have the dies, I just sit here and cut them out. I don't know why I do that. I just like it. It's very meditative. Okay, I saw something go by the screen. What was that, a heart, Dale?
No.
Was it a thumbs up?
It was nothing.
Oh.
No one's responded.
No one's responded yet?
Yeah.
So, bay window card. That's what it's called. Or that's what it was referred to on Simply Simple something. Hold on, I'll look it up for you. I'll tell you where you can go to her blog and you can request the dimensions for the card from her and she will give them to you. So it's not my idea. I just saw a sample of it and I was like, ooh, I can make something really cool with that and show all my peeps and see if they like it. I modified it just a little bit because, you know me, I can't just do it. You've never heard of it, Beth? It's pretty neat. I can't wait to show you. I'm excited. it won't take that long. I was practicing before the live so I don't mess it up while we're doing the live, because I had never made one either, but I saw it on TikTok and then I looked it up on YouTube and I found where the blog was, the lady that I learned from, and I watched her YouTube, and it was pretty easy to follow, but she also will give you the instructions. You just have to click it. You don't have to pay anything. And I just thought it was really neat, but it reminded me of a fishbowl. Even though it's called a bay window, I thought it reminded me a little bit of a fishbowl, which is why I went with the Nemo theme. Because I was like, it'll look so cute. And I have these new, papers that are from Stamperia that are ocean themed, or you know, water themed. And I thought, wow, that would be really cool. I could use those new papers I got. You know, because we all want to use our stuff we buy, unless we're hoarding it. Special for something. But I thought this will be great. I know I don't really have a lot of ocean type themed paper, so I knew I needed it for my little Nemo stamp set. This is from the Sassy Club, and it's called Fish Wishes, I think. Yeah, Fish Wishes is what the name of the stamp set is. And it has, it also has the dad turtle in it. I can't remember his name.
Marlin.
No, Marlin's Nemo's dad. This is the turtle's dad. So there's Crush. That's what it is. Crush and Squirt, I think was his name. There we go. All done. Okay, fussy cutting is done. Yay.
Little dude.
Yeah. Where they bump noggins. Cool. All right. Huh? Tubular. Okay, so now we have all our little dudes. I'm going to set them aside. And you need an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I couldn't decide which one I was going to use, but now that I've seen the Nemo colors that I picked, I don't think the blue will match as well, so I'm going to use this tan color right here. And I'm going to use my large trimmer because I'm going to need to cut this piece of paper into 4.5 by 11. So it's an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So I'm going to cut it at 4.5. This is going to be my 4.5 piece right here. And then I'm going to cut one more extra piece out of this one. So I need this to be 4.25 by 7/8. So yeah, 4.25. So we're going to do it this way. And then 7/8, which is almost 1 inch, but not quite. So I'm going to lay it right here, make sure it stays flat, and then cut it off. So this should be a 7/8 piece right here, and I'll need that for later. And then I need to cut, oh wait, the white inside. I don't need to cut the inside because I'm going to use this Nemo piece for my inside, but it's 4 by 5.25. And then out of my designer series paper pack. So normally you'd use a 4 by 10 and it would, you can just cut it into the pieces super fast. But I think I want to use more than one type of color paper. So I think I want to use this one because this kind of looks like they're in the ocean, even though this is the back side of that paper. We're going to cut that one. And then I got to pick one more, and I kind of feel like maybe this one, or I think maybe this one. And hopefully 2 will be enough. It doesn't really say, because you're supposed to use 8.5 by 11, but I kind of like it with, oh, maybe I'll use the net, because Nemo gets stuck in the net. Remember that? I think I'm going to use the net, and actually, I think I'm going to use the other blue one. I like this one. So we're going to use these 2 papers. Hopefully that'll be enough. If not, we'll use the other one. All right. So these are going to need to be cut. I need, let's see, the remaining piece is 4.5. Okay. So I need it to be, I need to cut it to 4.5. So I'm going to cut this to 4.5. Oh, it's supposed to be 4.5 by 10. That's all right. We'll figure it out. So 4.5. And then those 4.5 pieces, I need 1/4 inch. Let's see. Oh, I hate that I can't see 1/4 inch on here. All right. So we need 1 1/4. I'll do the 1/4 inch later. We need 1 1/4. And then we need another 1 1/4. And we need a 1.5. So that one's going to go in between those 2. And then we need 2 of the small 1/4 inches. So I'm going to use a different trimmer because I can't really see anything on that one. It drives me crazy. So let me put those pieces we already cut over there. And we'll put our little fish over there too. And now we need one that's 1/4 inch. So I'm going to eyeball it because I don't really have a good, well, we'll eyeball it and we'll look here and see. Okay, so that's about 1/4 inch. So let's do another one. This is my best way because these little things don't measure 1/4 inch very well. Okay, I need 2 of those. So there we go. Now we need one that's 1 inch. So we need one that's 1 inch. So just cutting up these papers in the strips that we need. So there's my 1 inch. Or actually, I think that's supposed to be 7/8. So let me put that back in there. Sorry about that. The solid color was 1 inch. And there it goes. And now we have to cut this paper the same way that we just cut that one. And since this is an 8.5 by 11, I can just use this trimmer. But I don't want the top part. I just want the net. So I'm going to cut the net at 4 inches. Did I cut these at 4.5? Because that really is a bummer. Yep, they're too long. Okay, so let's do 4 1/4. All right, now we have to cut them again so that we had 1 1/4 twice. And then we need a 1 1/2. And then we need the 1 1/4 again. It's a little bit hard to see if you're really lined up on that, so I have to kind of turn my head to the side. Then we need one that is we need one that's 1/4 inch. So this looks like I didn't get that straight. So we might have a little problem with the other one, but we'll see. All right, let's do 1/4 inch real quick. I just lay it on there, kind of eyeball the 1/4 inch, and then I'm done. I'm not going to go through a whole lot of trouble with that because I don't need it. I I don't need all that trouble. No trouble for me. Now we're going to need our scoreboard. I think that's an extra piece of paper. Now, I may need to cut something else, but for right now, I think that's all I need. So this one needs to be scored at 5.5 because this is an 11 and we want the card stock to be 5.5. So that when we fold it over, it matches up. It's perfect. I'm gonna stick it back on here. And I need my score lines to be at 3/8. And then I need it to be at 1 7/8. And then 3 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I need it to be at 5 1/8. So 5 1/8. And there we go. All right, so now we have this card scored on one side and plain on the other. So we're gonna fold it over. We're gonna burnish the edge. When I do that, this next one is gonna go backwards like this. This one is going to go forward. And then this one is going to go forward. And then this one is going to go backward. Kind of sounds crazy, but you can start seeing the form taking place right now. Haha, starting to work. Okay, so we're going to add our inside piece for Nemo, and then we're going to judge whether we got all our sizes correct or not. We'll soon find out. So we're going to add our Nemo piece. Come on, glue. Nemo's going to be on the inside of the card. So we're going to center it on this back panel right here. Oh, I think I have it too long. It's 4.5. Yeah, it is supposed to be 4.5. Oh, my paper is shorter. Well, that's all right. You're not going to see it anyway. I could have put a border in there, like another piece of paper in there, but that's okay. It'll be all right. So I have my papers already cut for stamping at a smaller size, so that's why it didn't fit in there perfectly. But it's okay. We're all good. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to start attaching those papers. So I want the water papers on the front. So I'm going to lay them out. The 1.5 goes in the center. This is why they're a little bit longer than they should be. I need to trim them. I left them, when I did it, I left them at 4 1/4, what did I leave them at? 4.5? Yeah, and they're supposed to be 4 1/4. So I'm just going to trim them a little bit, all my little blue pieces to 4 1/4. Sorry about that. If you were writing it down, you'll want to fix that one. If I said 4.5, I think it's supposed to be 4 1/4 though. So I'm just trimming these up to make sure that they work. Oops. I'm trying to cut the dark side of the paper on the same side so the papers actually match nicely. I think we cut, nope, we cut those a little long too. So 4 1/4. So I'm just cutting them all. I think we did the other papers correctly, but this one is all long. I cut it at 4 1/2 instead of 4 1/4. All right. There they are. Now we're going to place them on there. So 2 of them are the same size. 1 1/4, and one of them is 1 1/2. So the 1 1/2 is going to go in the center part. There should be a border around the whole thing. And then these two are going to go on the outside. So look, they look like water. So we're going to put our little fishies in the water. So I'm going to start putting this on there. This card really doesn't take that long to cut up once you learn how to do it. I mean, when you don't, I only did it one time and then I was like, oh no, it's 8:35. I got to go live. So I didn't have time to like really play around with it. But you can modify it whatever works for you. I just know I picked the papers and even that has like a little mountain on it. But I like the water side better. Now, if you wanted to, you could put, like, I think when she did hers, her name is simplysimplestamping.com. Simply Simple Stamping. And her name was Connie Stewart. That's where I got this idea from. And she put a square on the front of hers, but I didn't want to do that because I wanted to use all the cute little fish we were going to color up tonight. And I didn't want to put them on a square. I just wanted them swimming in the ocean. You know, just keep swimming. That is, you know, the way it goes for Dory and Nemo and Marlin and everybody in the ocean. All right, these little slivers, one goes right here on this outside little spine area. And then the other one goes on this little tab right here. So we're going to put that on. Put those on there real quick. Come on, straighten it out. There it goes. All right, perfect. Okay, so these are all my panels. Now, if you have pattern paper, you want to make sure when you cut your paper, the longer side will show the pattern correctly. So when you cut each piece, they kind of all roll together and look really nice. You follow her? Yes, you do, because you commented on something. I saw that, Cheryl. You do. And then when you open it up, she said you can leave this blank or you could put pattern paper on it. So I want to use these pattern papers that we did since it's the inside of the card, and I think it'll be super cute that way. We don't put one on the inside part, just on these 3 panels. I want to move this one over here, and I want to move this one over here. They look a little bit more like they kind of flow together. And then a small one goes on this panel right here. So we're just going to glue those on. Yes, she is a Stampin' Up! Rep. Yep, that's what she said. I just happened to come across this card and I was like, oh, that's super cool. I would really like to do that. So I went and found her again, wrote her name down, and then went back and watched her video so I could show you guys, because I thought it was super cool. Sometimes Stampin' Up! Has really cool designs for their cards. I've seen a lot of them that I liked over the many years that I've done this, but those who don't really follow her in particular would not know about these. So, but I definitely want to give her the credit for this idea, because it wasn't my idea. I just saw it and liked it and decided to do it. Okay, now we're almost done, and I'll show you what the last steps are here, and then we'll put our characters on there, and it will be finished. So the reason that we don't put one on here is because we put glue on here. And then we fold that completely over. And we're going to press that together right here, just like this. So this is what's going to build that little bit of a spine right there for you. See? That's why I put Nemo where I did. And then we're going to use these two pieces right here. Hang tight 1 second. I might have cut this one too short. 7/8. That one is supposed to be 1 inch, but 7/8 is fine. We'll just trim this one down a little bit. We'll just trim this one down to 1 1/4. I mean, 1/4. So we're just going to trim just a little bit off because I want this one to be matted on the other one, and we had it a little bit bigger than that. So now it works perfectly like that. I am going to have to trim this side though, because I need it to be a little bit smaller so that it's matted on this. Just like that. And the reason I modified this to 7/8, and the reason that I chose 7/8 instead of 1 inch, which she did 1 inch, but you have to have your foam tape a certain size. So for me, because this foam tape is already shaped in the manner it is, she used dimensional outline, like the excess stuff of dimensionals, and showed you how to put them on there. So if you have those, you can do that. Otherwise, you can modify it to whatever you need as well. I mean, I just did it to whatever I needed. So that this piece will go right here, up, lined up with this white piece right here. And then you'll put the foam tape down one side of it, this side. And then this will fold over and slide under. So I guess I should have made that longer, but it doesn't really matter. It's totally fine. And that will slide underneath it. So it'll work perfectly. We'll probably trim that off just because it'll drive me crazy if we don't. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to run it along this edge right here so that the space I have available will fit that 1/4 inch, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Because you need to have the foam tape up against the part that's going to slide underneath it. Otherwise, it won't sit correctly. So this is the most important part, is making sure that you have a 1/4 inch with no tape and the rest filled in with tape. That is the important part. So we're going to take that. We're going to put it on our card. I'm going to try and kind of center it from top to bottom. That's why Nemo was stamped over a bit, because I knew I was going to have to put him in there. And then this part will slide right up underneath there. And then you have this window card that stands up like this. So you can put it anywhere. You can, yeah, this paper works perfect. They can sit it up when they get it. You can mail it flat. And then for our characters, so she put a square on the front of hers that sat right here. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted this to look a little bit like an aquarium. So I chose this little guy for here. I'm going to put Marlin right here. And I'm going to put Dory right here because she's just so happy. She's happy-go-lucky. We're going to leave Just Keep Swimming on the front. And then we're going to put this little guy right over here. And he's just going to be hanging out over here. And then there are some bubbles in the stamp set that I want to stamp on here. So I saved it for last. But I have these little bubbles that I think will help like fill it all in. So for this little guy, we can glue him completely flat down. No problem at all. He'll just get completely flat because he fits on this small 1 1/4 inch panel. So that works perfectly. And then Dory fits right in the center panel as well. So I will just glue her down because she will fit right here. And I might just turn her a little bit because she's always doing a little dancy swim when she's swimming around. And then the Just Keep Swimming, I'm going to actually use my tweezers so I can hold on to it. Oop, we don't want to put it upside down, although it would still work. I think I might put it a little bit slanted like this because it's cute that way. And then this little guy over here on the side. And the only one who's going to have to be glued a little bit special is Marlin, because we can't glue him down, otherwise our card won't fold on the score lines. So we just want to put glue on the front half of him, so he'll kind of be hanging off of the edge. It'll be okay and it will look just fine, but you don't want to glue that down, otherwise it doesn't work out. So now when you lift this up and you put it in there, you have these fish swimming around. I just love this thing. I am going to stamp just a little bit of these bubbles on there. Maybe I'll use the VersaFine Clair because it stamps a little bit darker and better. So I'm going to put a little bit over here. You can turn the bubbles to whatever direction you need them to be. And I think I'll put some from down here, like there's somebody below that area of the fish tank. And then I want some by the turtle. So up here, just like right here. And then I think that's all I want on there. I mean, I might have some other bling fishy or whatever, but I did not pull any of that out. I just thought I just wanted to get my little ocean theme going on here. Now, when you open it up, you can, it says, life with you is an ocean of adventure, which I think is really cute. And then if you want, you can put something over here. She did not. I kind of like it with the netting. And then you just sign it where you want it, and then make sure that you sign your work, because that's very important. Always, always sign your work so people know you did it, because if you don't, they will never know where they could get another one. So yeah, it just slides right in there, and then you just sit it up just like that. Isn't that cute? I hope you guys like that, because I really like it. And doesn't it look like a little aquarium? If you were going to sit it in your house or at work or whatever, it's like you have this cute little aquarium that you just sent someone. And they don't even have to feed them or take care of them. They can just sit them out there and they're all good. I think it's really cute. And the fact that you can lay it flat to mail it and then just slide it up to send it to somebody is awesome. I really liked it. Again, the lady's name was Connie Stewart, and she has Simply Simple Stamping, and you can follow her, or you can go check out. She has some other stuff that's pretty cool. So I bet she'd love to have you follow her. Thank you. I'm glad you like it, Beth. I really like it, and I think this. You could do anything with it, because like I said, you could put a square or a rectangle or whatever you wanted on there. But these fish just make it awesome, I think. So let me hold them up close so you can see those cute little fish. They're really cute. You can even see the freckles on Dory. And then they're all looking, just keep swimming, they're all looking for Nemo, and then you open it up, and there he is. Perfect, right? Okay, I hope you guys like that. I hope you have a great evening and a great weekend. I will be posting more speed videos and card making videos on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, so make sure you're following there. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. We're really trying to build that channel. We'll need that for the upcoming events that are happening with Ledoux Designs. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm always available to answer any questions. If you have any suggestions on something you'd like to see, let me know that as well, and I can help you out with that as well. So you guys have a great evening, and I will see you next Tuesday at 8:30 Central. Good night.